A charge to the shortstop. Doggies have a runner at second base with one out. And here's Jeremy Sampson, the North Bend shortstop. Moving on deck, Garrett Miller.
A great way to see a ball game, Ed. We are between home plate and the pitcher's mound, staring right over at the third baseman, who's just off the bag, and at the shortstop, and we are at ground level. It's really an interesting way to watch a ball game.
It is indeed. Andy Mason out of his stretch, checks the runner down at second, comes to the plate. The ball is swung on, laced out into right center field. Center fielder, right fielder chasing it, cannot get it. It's in there for a base knock, and the throw coming back in. The runner from second holds at third base. He had to hold up to see if Jesse Neat might be able to gobble that ball as he raced over toward right center.
Well, Garrett Miller will be up for the Bulldogs. Ed, Garrett, of course, normally is the right fielder for the North Bend Bulldogs. He is pitching today against this Cottage Grove team, which will be interesting. The first time he's done that, Glenn Hanna, who's been smacking the ball around pretty well, will play that right field position. In fact, he's on deck for the Bulldogs.
Out of the stretch with the Doggies having runners on the corners. Mason just given up his first base hit with one out here in the top of the first. Comes to the plate, strike, throw down to first, not in time. 0-1 on Garrett Miller, right-handed batter. He has been tattooing the ball with precision here of late as well. As you mentioned, Glenn Hanna is on deck. Josh Terry will follow him. Over at third, Matt Van Dorn. Jeremy off at first, being held there by J.C. Hansen. Mason, hand behind his back, holding the horse side, peering down to get his signal from Toby Butterer. Stretch. Still. Pitch. Swung on, wrapped out into right center field. And this one is going to be in there for a base knock. The throw went down to second. The runner at first had the hold again to see if maybe that ball might be caught. It wasn't. The run comes in to score. The Doggies lead it by 1-0. Give Garrett a run batted in. North Bend runners on at first and second with one man out. The batter, Glenn Hanna, with Josh Terry on deck.
Well, Andy Mason has been throwing hard. The Bulldogs have not been able to pull the ball on Mason. They've been hitting everything out to right field.
The only pitch, the only contact has been hit to the shortstop. Everything else has been off to the right side. Pitch is taken for a ball to Glenn. Right-handed batter facing the right-handed pitching, Andy Mason. I knew as we were coming down here, we were going to see Mason this afternoon. He's a good one. Pitch to the plate. Breaking pitch. It's a strike called. Evens it up at 1-1.
And did you ever see his jar? You know, this Cottage Grove team, Ed, right now playing things a little bit shifted over toward right. The left fielder well off the line over toward center, and the center fielder has taken a few steps over toward right.
Well, a wise defensive move with everything being hit that direction. This one hit to the right side. First baseman coming over near the bench. He makes the grab. So we have two men down now for North Bend. Runners still perched over at first and second. With two gone, it's up to Josh Terry, the first baseman.
Boy, nice job by the first baseman for the Lions, Ed. He had a long way to go, all the way over across from over behind the bag to the dugout for the Bulldogs. He did a great job.
Zeroed it in and did get the second out. Josh takes a look at the pitch. It's a strike down around the knees. Plate umpire, very emphatic, signaling out toward us, so we're well aware of what the count is. Butterer in his crouch sets the mid as a target. Two Doggies leading off with two out here in the top of the first. Pitch is up high, had a notion to go after it. Took his stride forward, but didn't move the bat, so it's even out now at 1-1.
Ball a long way off the ground when it's high to Josh. He is one of the tallest players in that Bulldog lineup.
The shortstop is harassing the runner down at second, cuts behind him, draws the throw, hit the runner, but the angle of Karam was directly into the hands of the second baseman, Levi Herman, so there was no chance to do anything. You can see that one coming. Now we have Hoot Gibson starting to go out. He wanted to check and see if his runner at second, Jeremy Sampson, was okay, and Jeremy says no problem.
Jeremy's been plucked a couple of times here recently.
He really has, and every bruise adds to the accumulation. Look towards second. Pitch. Had a notion to go. Looked like a little wrinkler came in there. First strike two. 1-2 on Josh Terry. Rocky Richards is on deck, still wearing the shin guards. Here it is. Swing foul back to the screen. Still 1-2. Rocky, very obliging, trots after that horse side to get it.
North Bend leading it 1-0 here. We're just in the top of the first inning.
With one out, an error, followed by two singles, the one by Jeremy Sampson and Garrett Miller. Garrett's got him in. Ball is beat high, down toward second base. Second baseman has it, kicks the sack, and the side is retired. Josh out of there on the fielder's choice. Retired at second, forced out is Garrett Miller. And so North Bend goes down here in the first inning. They come up with one run. There were two hits. There was one error, a costly one, and two runners were left on the bases. So your score then here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove is the North Bend Bulldogs 1 and the Cottage Grove Lions coming to bat.
Over 30 years, Basin Auto has been supplying all your automotive repair needs, offering complete automotive maintenance for auto, truck, or motorhome. Basin Auto also carries parts for any vehicle and will special order any item not in stock. Now they announce a new line of stock dress-up stuff for your pickup, molded running boards, custom grills, treated aluminum toolboxes, custom headlight and taillight covers, plus special low prices monthly on selected items. Basin Auto, Bayshore Drive, Coos Bay.
Some interesting ball games around the league today, and one that the doggies watch with interest. That's one between Churchill and Willamette. Marshfield is over at North Eugene, Sheldon at South, Springfield at Thurston. Warm-up tosses being fired to the plate by Garrett Miller. As we mentioned, that this is the first outing for Garrett. He throws them right-handed. Tremendous, fine batter, and a good patrolman out in right field for the doggies. On Monday, the regular season comes to a halt, and on that, we will have Thurston at Churchill, Cottage Grove will be at Marshfield, Sheldon at North Eugene, South Eugene at Springfield, and the Wolverines will be down at Clyde Allen Field to bring down the curtain.
Well, it'll be interesting, Ed, watching Garrett Miller out on the mound for the North Bend Bulldogs, as he will for the first time be pitching in a game for North Bend. As we had talked about, if you're joining us late, he, of course, of more of a right field persuasion, but now he'll be on the mound, right-handed thrower for the Bulldogs. And while we wait for the Lions to step to the plate, we'll remind you Midwestern League Baseball is heard right here on KBBR, North Bend, Coos Bay.
These Cottage Grove Lions are not to be taken lightly. Down at Clyde Allen Field on the 18th of April, Doggies jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Cottage Grove came back with 6 to lead it 6-3. That was in the fourth, and the Dogs got 3 back to tie it. 2 in the fifth for Cottage Grove to lead it, 8-6. North Bend 4 in the fifth to take the lead, 10-8, and then they picked up another one in the sixth to win it, 11-8. Andy Mason pitched in that ball game. Right now, Garrett Miller looks for his sign, ready to come to the plate. He does. It's in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. Garrett bringing it to the plate. The batter is Eric Henson. 0-1. Jeremiah Kirk is on deck. Pitch, strike 2. 0-2. Quickly, we have Garrett Miller jumping out in front of the batter. Here in the bottom half of the first inning, North Bend leading it 1-0. Garrett working quickly, spins to the plate, wrapped down third baseman. Waybright has it. Throw to first. He's out. First man up is out of there. Third to first. Waybright to Josh Terry.
Listening a little earlier today and talking with Hoot Gibson, the head coach of the Bulldogs, Ed, says we're going with Garrett, is going to do his best out there, but you fielders have got to be ready to play your position. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to go after the ball. He's not going to go out and strike out 15 people. He hadn't been pitching this year, but you need to be able to field the ball. You've got to work at it, and that's going to be a key, obviously, here. North Bend in this situation, Ed, they need to rest their pitchers. They have worked very hard all year long, have to be tired.
They really do. First pitch was a little wrinkler from Garrett to Jeremiah for a strike. He took the next one for a ball low. Evens up the count now at 1-1. On deck is J.C. Hansen, the first baseman. Garrett's pitch in the dirt, bounces into the mitt, pops out of it. 2-1 the count. Rocky retrieves it out in front of the dish.
Now what happens when he drops the ball like that, Ed? Does that remain a ball?
Don't get me started on that dissertation. Here's the pitch. Low. Ball. 3-1 the count.
Thought maybe we'd want to keep an eye on that development.
We will pass that information along, you bet. Pitch nicked him. Hit by the pitch. And so on a 3-1 pitch, Jeremiah, either way, is down at first base. Pitch was inside, obviously, since it hit the right-hander. Could have been ball 4, but instead it nicked him. Here's J.C. Hansen, left-handed batter. Where's number 3? Cottage Grove in gray home uniforms. The Doggies in their pinstripes. Josh Terry holding against Kirk. Pitch is waved at and missed for a strike. 0-1 on J.C. Toby Botteroff, the catcher, is due up next. The Doggy bench is to our right along the first base line. Across the way is the Cottage Grove Lion bench. Up on top, they have the broadcast booth. We are sitting out in the sun, taking a tan with a Speedo. Where else? Pitch. Outside, the runner on the go. Throw it on the second. It's on a hop and not handled. And in there safely is Jeremiah Kirk with a pilfered cushion.
Boy, nice job by Jeremiah. He got a great jump and went down ahead of the throw, which, as you mentioned, bounced to Jeremy Sampson, who moved over to second from shortstop.
Had to hurry the throw on that one. So the 1-1 pitch from Garrett Miller. Watches it sail cap high for ball 2. 2-1. Toby Botteroff, the catcher, is on deck. The potential tying run here in the bottom of the first is on at second for Cottage Grove. Ball is swung on. It is poked over the second baseman's head. It is going to be in there for a base hit. The runner from second heading toward the plate. He's going to score. Garrett Miller cuts it off, and standing in the second is J.C. Hansen. So we are all tied here at 1. A run batted in for J.C. He just kept on going, and with the throw toward the plate, he steamed on into second. That ball was shot over the second baseman, Darren Ford's noggin, for the base hit.
Boy, nice job of hitting by J.C. Hansen. That ball almost had eyes, Ed, as it went out in the gap between right and center.
So we have Toby Botteroff, the catcher, taking up high. Ball, 1-0 count. Andy Mason, the pitcher, is due up next for the Lions. What a gorgeous day. Shortstop in close with the runner at second. Left-handed batter up there for the Lions. Pitch is taken outside and low for ball 2. 2-0 the count. Toby Botteroff is a very good sticker. Excellent athlete for the Lions. Outfield for this left-handed batter. Pulled around to the right. Swings, fouls this one foul. It is 2-1. Got this one over the little hang that they've got on the back of the backstop and out into the street. Didn't hear anybody screaming, so I guess it's all right.
1-1 ball game here. We're in the bottom of the first. A good one underway at Kelly Field here in Cottage Grove.
Pitch is taken for a ball. Ball 3. Toby Botteroff working on Garrett Miller with 1 out. Hit batter. Pilfered second. And then a single got him in. We are tied. Ball is beat foul at the plate. Your count is full. Toby climbs back in again. Blue 6 on the back of his uniform. Now, the person could relax in this kind of weather. Payoff pitch. Walked him. So we've got runners on at first and second for the Cottage Grove Lions. That'll be walk number 1 given up by Garrett Miller. Brings the bat Andy Mason. Not only a good pitcher, but also a very fine man with the stick.
Boy, that he is. He is a good baseball player, Andy Mason.
Takes a look at the first pitch. It's a little wrinkler, goes outside for ball 1. Levi Herman, the second baseman, is on deck. 2 men aboard for the Lions with 1 out here in the first. Pitch is waved at and missed for a strike. Took a healthy cut at that ball and did not get it.
Well, if Ron Dance wasn't standing so close, Ed, I would have said that thing must have looked as big as a watermelon coming in, but smack into the glove for the strike.
Just the thought is not very good. Pitch, strike. 1-2 the count. 1 away. 2 aboard. Tied at 1. Right-handed batter, feet fairly wide spread, is Andy Mason. Plenty of time on his stretch by Garrett Miller. Pitch is taken for a ball. Evens it out now at 2-2.
You know, here with temperatures in the low 80s, wouldn't a nice ice-cold slice of watermelon go down good right now?
Oh, my goodness, yes. Crisp, sugary, sweet. On the way. Swing foul. This one, the little bend on the backstop kept it from going anywhere. The count is still even out at 2-2. Torture on a hot summer afternoon. Well, we haven't quite got to summer yet.
Last thing we ever want to do is torture anyone, right, Ed?
Exactly right. Ball is swung on. Grabbing it. Garrett throws to second for one. Relay to first. He's out. Double play. Going the unusual way from pitcher to short, they got the out of Toby Botleroff, and then Jeremy Sampson's relay over to first base, enough to get the double play out of there, and Cottage Grove goes down with one run. They had one base hit. There were no errors, and there was one runner left on the bases. Your score at the end of one full inning. We're tied at 1.
CPA offering professional full-service accounting, including income tax services, estate, trust, financial, and business consulting on Broadway, North Bend. Reese Electric since 1946, serving the electrical needs of commercial, residential, and industrial accounts. Reese Electric, where service is their specialty on Union, North Bend. And Gino's Pizza Inn, the place to stop on your way to or from any Bulldog game. For the best pizza anywhere, it's Gino's Pizza Inn on Virginia Avenue, North Bend.
Top half of the second inning here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove.
Now, Ron, when we arrived here, one of the ladies in the stands wondered if they had to close down the PO when you came to the ball game.
Well, I got to tell you the truth. When I leave the office,
I wish you wouldn't.
I don't give it a second thought. All I was thinking about was that nice airplane ride up here, nice flight back. Wasn't thinking about any fruit, though.
Little baseball in the middle. I'll tell you this, you just can't beat this. Sitting right here on the field level, and we are, in fact, right here next to the grass around home plate. I mean, we are as close as you can get without being in the ball game. Beautiful place to watch a baseball game from. And in this low 80-degree heat, boy, it is nice. And we're glad you could join us for the game. North Bend got a run in the first when Van Doren reached on an error, and then Sampson singled. Garrett Miller then with an RBI single, and that put the Bulldogs on the board. But the Lions come right back as Jeremy Kirk scores a run on the single by J.C. Hansen. So tie ball game, but nice double play turned by the Bulldogs, starting from the pitcher's mound to get him out of trouble in the bottom of the first.
Climbing in the redhead, Rocky waving the toothpick back and forth. Pitch from Mason is taken. Strike. 0-1 the count. While I'm thinking about it, deep thanks go to Gary and Shirley Ton for having sacrificed their lawn chairs for our convenience, David. Pitches up, fastball down around the knees, strike 2. Man, he roared back and powdered that one.
Andy Mason, boy, he's a tiger out on the mound. Well, I should say a lion out on the mound. But, boy, he really burned that thing in.
Next hit, swung up. Gerald past the third baseman down the left field line for a base hit. Let's see if it's going to be extra. Quick recovery out there by Jeremiah Kirk, and he whistles it back to the infield. And Rocky Richards pulled one like a shot down the third baseline for a base hit.
Rocky got around on it. He was swinging hard, and it was at a hard-thrown fastball. And as you mentioned, got around and pulled that thing. The third baseman, standing probably about 12, 15 feet off the bag, just tried to get to it, and that thing screamed just inside the bag.
Perfect view for that particular shot. Here's left-handed hitting Colby Ton, teammate at first. Stretched by Mason. Quick throw to first. Diving back in is Rocky. Digs a little trench in the dirt. What does he like to call it dirt instead of mud after all these months, weeks? First baseman holding against him. Mason ready to deliver. It is in high for a ball. 1-0 on Colby. Eric Champney, the DH, is on deck. Eric batting for the third baseman, Jesse Waybright. Third baseman, pretty good gap between him and the cushion as Mason flips one in a hurry over to first, but no harm done.
Well, North Bend has been really swinging the bats well, and they have done a nice job coming up with a lot of hits and starting to really come around. This is a great time of the year to do that.
Bunt down the first baseline. Up with it. Mason has to go to first. It is in time. So the sacrifice is accomplished by Colby Ton. Beautiful bunt down the first baseline on the grass. They had only one play, no chance of making it anywhere else. And they went from Mason to the first baseman, J.C. Hansen, runner at second with one out. The batter, Eric Champney, on deck. Darren Ford, the third baseman. Second baseman. We're number 3. Oh, my goodness. Plunked. is Eric Champney. So doggies have a runner on at first and second.
Well, we're close enough. We could almost feel that one, Ed. Plunked him right in the back as Eric turned around from that pitch that was coming way inside. So now runners at first and second, 1 out, 1-1 ball game, and North Bend goes to the top of the order.
That was a dull thump. It's kind of like when the doctor checks your lungs, patting you on the back. A little more painful than that, you can rest assured. Pitch is taken by Darren for ball 1. Darren flied out to right field his first time up. Matt Van Doren is on deck directly in front of us. Third baseman is away from the bag. Left fielder normal positions. Center fielder, where'd he go? Pitch is in the dirt. Good block there by Toby Bortorff of ball 2. 2-0.
Darren Ford has just been on fire, Ed. He has been hitting that ball at a clip that you don't see very often in high school.
He's up there even the bat back and forth, waiting for Mason to get ready to deliver. Feet comfortably spread in the right-handed hitter's spot. This one is up high. Toby comes out from behind the plate, ready to throw it. Doesn't. It's ball 3.
You almost get the feeling with Darren, the last thing he wants to do is walk.
I would think so.
Sure doesn't strike out much, though. This guy really has good control of the bat.
Protects the plate. Fine young ball player. Takes this one. Darren pulled that bromide that you should not do. He waited for a moment, then nothing forthcoming, so he started to drop the bat, and the ump says, no, that's a strike. 3-1. Ball is cut on. It is fouled back to the screen for strike 2. Full count. From home plate to the backstop is really, it's not close, and yet it is, well, you could make some headway if the ball got past the catch. Spinning and bluffing a throw toward second, draws the usual balk, and that falls on deaf ears. Runners off, first and second. Now that brings conference up.
Well, Andy Mason working out there, and Bodorf wants to go out and get things squared away. They've got Bulldog down at second. That's Rocky Richards, and then Chanthony is over at first. There's 1 out, and now a 3-2 count. They were in danger of losing. Darren Ford fell behind 3-0 to Darren, but then a called strike and then a foul ball, and we have a loaded count right here to Darren Ford.
See what the payoff pitch looks like. Darren parked, waiting for it. Doggies poised with 1 out. Mason checks the lead runner again. Ball is swung on, wrapped to the right of the mound. Chasing it and gloving it was Mason. Underhands it to the first baseman for a ground out. Pitcher to first was not bunted. It was hit, so that takes away the sacrifice, but it accomplished the same purpose. Rocky is at third. Eric Champney at second. There are now 2 out, and Matt Van Doren is your batter. Matthews, safe on an error, came in the score on Garrett Miller's single. We are tied at 1. Pitch is a strike to Matt. 0-1. Jeremy Sampson on deck. Waving the toothpick back and forth. At third, Richards. At second, Champney. 2 gone. Matt waiting. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Healthy cut by Matt. Tried to give that ball a ride and was not able to make contact. The outfield appears to be pretty much straight away, although there's a big hole between the center fielder and right fielder. In the first inning, that was a dangerous thing to have. This one is slugged out toward right center, but backpedaling the second baseman as the ball kind of has a hump to it and drops in for a short popper to Levi Herman to retire the side. Here in the second inning, a doggy threat, but that's all. There were no runs. There was 1 base hit. There were no errors and 2 men left on the bases. Score at the end of 1.5 innings of play remains the North Bend Bulldogs 1 and the Cottage Grove Lions 1.
Bulldog Sports is brought to you by Coos Bay Timber Operators since 1945, offering quality crushed quarry rock, road crushing, dump trucking, and portable crushing. 756-6254. MJ Video Creations for high-quality video productions, education, commercial tape duplicating, and editing. Count on MJ Videos at the North Bend Airport. And Coos Head Builder Supply with professional advice for any size job and all the tools and products to do the job right the first time. Serving you since 1947 on Sherman Avenue, North Bend.
Bottom half of inning number 2 for the Lions would be Levi Herman, the second baseman, Jonah Gladney, shortstop, and Jesse Neat, the center fielder, coming on for the Lions to see what they can do in this ball game that has the North Bend Bulldogs even up at 1-1. Each team scored in the first inning.
Well, Ed, one thing that the Cottage Grove Lions have as we look at this lineup is a lot of familiar names. These guys were around last year.
And they'll be around, some of them will be around next year. We understand Mason will be around next year. My goodness. These good athletes, they just seem to hang on and on. They blossom early, and then they improve with vintage age.
Well, he really did a nice job getting out of trouble. Mason left the door ajar there for a while, but able to close things off on a nice couple of defensive plays.
Locked and sealed at least. Pitch, swung, slapped high into the air. Josh gloved that ball, a line drive, ticketed down the right field line.
Now, Josh Terry wears his fielding glove, on his left hand. That ball was hit to his right. He reached across his body, jumped in the air, somehow snagged the ball, spun him completely around. He hung on. What a great catch by the first baseman, Josh Terry.
One away, Jonah Gladney takes a strike from Garrett Miller.
Levi Herman has been thieved from.
And mumbling as he goes back to the bench. Pitch is a little low to even it up at 1-1 on Jonah. The infield for the Doggies looks like short and second are deep on the grass. First baseman is deep. Third baseman in. The pitch is high to run at 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike on Jonah Gladney with 1 out and none on here in the second inning. We are tied up 1-1. Pitch swung on, skied high. Where did it go? Protect our head. Thank you so much, Rocky.
They just missed us, Ed. The ball was coming right at you, and I want everybody to know that Ron and I spared every expense, and we ducked out of the way.
It's deeply appreciated. One of the problems was on that, I'm looking straight up into the sun, and that ball was coming straight up in the sun. I couldn't pick it up. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So Jonah Gladney pays for his almost penalty beaning of me by going down swinging. Strikeout number 1 for Garrett Miller. That's kind of tough looking up in that sun and trying to pick up the horsehide.
Gives you an appreciation for the job these players do when they lose that ball once in a while up in the sky.
You better believe it. Yes, indeed. Right-handed batter, Jesse Neat, center fielder, looks the first one over. It is outside for a ball.
Now, was that because it fell out of his glove, or was it outside?
The umpire signaled that it was outside. We're going to have to explain that to you. Depends on who we have calling on Monday. Pitch. See right. Evens it up at 1-1. Monday, final regular season game for the Doggies when the Willamette Wolverines move into Clyde Allen. We need your help, support, moral support. Make plans to join us, won't you, at 5 o'clock or sooner. They've been starting sooner. Pitch in the dirt. Runs it to 2-1 on Jesse.
You know, folks get real close to their radio, Ed. They might be able to smell the popcorn.
It is very fragrant. Now I know what my coonies feel like. Garrett, wind, kick, pitch. Swing, got a little chunk of it, goes back to the backstop, caroms off the board portion, evens it up at 2-2. Rocky Richards behind the plate, round the infield, Jesse Waybright at third, Jeremy Sampson at short, Darren Ford is at second, and Josh Terry at first, and there's a big gap down third between Jesse and the third base cushion. The pitch to the plate is taken for ball 3, full up at 3-2.
Garrett trying that little Scroogey ball there, Ed.
That's quite a pitch. Garrett ready. Here it is. Pitch is swung up right down to Jesse. Grabs it, throw to first. It's in time, a little bit high, but when you got somebody with the elevation of Josh Terry, no problem. Third to first. Takes care of the Lions here in the second. 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Your score at the end of 2. The Bulldogs 1 and the Cottage Grove Lions 1.
A local part of the business community, is proud to sponsor the Bulldogs sports broadcasts. Platt wishing the Bulldogs an electric season. The Hilltop House Restaurant and Lounge offers a great view of the dunes and sunsets. For lunch and dinner, the Hilltop House on North Bay Drive. Stebbins & Coffee Attorneys at Law, where they know our future is our kids, encouraging you to support all high school athletics and especially the Dogs. Stebbins & Coffee, 745 California, North Bend.
Top half of the third inning, Jeremy Sampson, the shortstop, Garrett Miller, the pitcher, and then Glenn Hanna, the right fielder, coming on for the Doggies. All tied up with the Lions at 1-1. First time up, Jeremy got himself a single, wound up down at second base. Garrett singled to drive in the Bulldog run, and then Glenn Hanna skied out to the first baseman over near the Doggy bench. Long throw from Toby Bottorff down to second base for the Lions. They peg it around. It'll wind up eventually with the pitcher, Andy Mason, and we'll be ready to go here in the third. Ball game moving along in pretty fair fashion, really. It's been a good one. You wonder sometimes, in light of that 11-8 game up at Clyde Allen Field, whether there would be an explosion or whether we'll have a tight pitcher's battle. Sometimes one does indeed follow the other. Mason ready, spin, sidearm, pitch waved at and missed for a strike. Good cut by Jeremy, could not make contact. Willamette Wolverines be at Clyde Allen Field. We're looking forward to their return to Clyde Allen. They will be thirsting for revenge. Pitch is swung on, wrapped down, third baseman to his left, gets the short hop, up with it, high throw, and on a close play as the first baseman just did come down after going into the air. J.C. Hansen got his foot on the bag just before Jeremy Sampson got there. It'll be third to first. Good play on both ends of that. And one away now. We have Garrett Miller up there. Single. Got a run in the first. Glenn Hanna on deck. First pitch is a strike to Garrett. 0-1.
Andy Mason is right around the plate, Ed. If you check, I think on only one player, he's gone to 3-ball count.
That's exactly right. Pitch is caught on and missed for a strike. 0-2. Garrett took a healthy rip at that ball as Andy dug in the hip pocket and blew one in.
Yeah, this guy's a real pitcher. He's fun to watch.
Has his sign. In it comes. Ball is swung on. Poked out, right side, over the first baseman's head. It's in there for a base hit. The right fielder came over toward the line and looping one just over the first baseman on the right field line is Garrett Miller with his second base hit of the ball game. That brings on Glenn Hanna, the Doggy right fielder.
North Bend with 4 hits on the afternoon off Mason. And again, there's a ball that just fell in that gap between the infield and the outfield.
You had a right-handed hitter hitting to the opposite field, which says something for the velocity dished up by Andy Mason. Quick throw over to first, not in time. Garrett was really not that far away. We get a different view of things from down here. I didn't know Josh wore glasses. My goodness. Fine athlete. Pitches foul tip, popped out of the mitt of the catcher. 0-1 on Glenn Hanna.
Yeah, check the scoreboard. That is still a strike. Josh Terry on deck now for North Bend.
I would hope so. Oh, that makes for a separate dissertation, believe me. Boy, does it ever. 0-1. Look to first. The pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. Glenn was aiming for the downs that time and did not get it.
Boy, hard to believe Andy Mason will be back next year with the Lions, Ed.
He was a tough cookie last year, and he's been a little tougher this year. And imagine what next year's going to bring.
Boy, with him and Henry from Marshfield, there's some good pitchers coming back in this league next year.
Quick bullet throw over to first from Mason to Hansen is not in time. Garrett, having due respect for his pitching opponent, not only from being on the hill, but also for his pickoff attempt. There's another bullet throw. This one down around the ankles on a quick tag is still not in time. Patiently waiting is Glenn Hanna for the 0-2 pitch. Ball is swung on, wrapped toward the hole between short and third. Third baseman over there makes the cutoff, and he fires that ball over to first, but it's this side, the home plate side of the bag, and runners are on at first base with Garrett Miller.
They were able to get the force on Miller down at second, so Glenn Hanna is aboard at first with 2 out, and that'll bring up Josh Terry.
They got the fielder's choice for Glenn with the front runner. They cut him down. They wanted to. There's a quick throw from Mason. This one got away from the first baseman. Chasing it in foul territory, making the turn is Glenn, and he puts the brakes on.
So Glenn on the errant throw there gets a ticket really down to second base as that ball went way out into right field. So now the Bulldogs have a runner in scoring position. Josh has delivered pretty well this year, Ed, with people in scoring position.
There are two men gone. Leveling the stick back and forth. The heads-up thing as Andy Mason went behind the third baseman to back him up in case a throw was coming on that wild throw. The pitch is fouled off by Josh. Rocky Richards on deck, still wearing his catching knee guards, hoping that he'll get a shot at it. Doggy's a runner at second, tied here at 1 with the Cottage Grove Lions. Pitch on the way. Swing, and doesn't get it. Strike 2.
Well, Andy Mason really, as Ed would say, drug the anchor on that pitch. A let-up pitch, and way out in front was Cherry, and quickly, it's 0-2.
Doggies have threatened in each inning. They scored in the first, left a couple in the second. Ball is swung on, poked, out of play. Still 0-2.
Well, Mason has him 0-2. He had Hanna 0-2. He had Miller 0-2, and he had Sampson 0-1. Everything is right around the plate with this guy.
Almost sounds like a broken record. Talk about Kelly Field reminds me of the military airstrip or airport that was in installation way back in the big one.
You were hanging out at airports?
Well, no, I just read about it so I could make it a point not to get anywhere near it. Pitch in the dirt, knocked down by Toby. Good block. The runner going. The throw is not in time. Good recovery by Bottorff. He chased it off to his right along the first baseline in foul territory for about 5 feet or so. Got a hold of it. Dust and all, wheeled it down to third, but not in time. So let's see what is dealt up now by Andy Mason with a doggy over at third and 2 gone. Pitch is beat foul. Toby thought he should have held on to it, pounded his mitt. Count stays with 2 strikes. The scoreboard here is down the right field line, just to the right of the 267 marker. What a lazy, beautiful afternoon we have got. We've been blessed here these last few ball games. Boy, howdy. Pitch, he went for one, didn't get. Strike 3. So Andy Mason picks up a strikeout here in the third inning. It will be strikeout number 1. The doggy's threat goes down with no runs. There was 1 hit, there was 1 error, and 1 man left on the bases. Your score then at the end of 2.5 innings remains the North Bend Bulldogs 1, the Cottage Grove Lions 1.
Bulldog Sports presented in part by the King's Table Buffet. Quality home-style food at family value prices. 625 North Broadway, downtown Coos Bay. And by the Bon Marché. For all your household needs and family apparel, look no further than your local Bon Marché, Pony Village Mall, North Bend. And by your nearby Safeway Food and Drug Superstore, East Johnston, Coos Bay, where nobody does it better. Go Dogs!
I won't make Folsom.
Not before midnight. Orlando Mitchell leading off for Cottage Grove Ed here in the third with Eric Hinson and Jeremiah Kirk due up at the top of the order. A 1-1 ball game and a good one here. North Bend going with Garrett Miller out on the mound. Regular right fielder for North Bend. He's done a credible job. A guy who's not used to pitching, but Coach Hoot Gibson had faith in him, and Garrett has done a nice job. Gave up the 1 run in the first inning. North Bend also got their run of the ball game back in the first inning, and since that time, it's been a very tight pitcher's duel.
Orlando Mitchell, the right fielder, a left-handed batter, waits for the delivery to come in from Garrett Miller. Here it is, swung on, skied high. And it is not going to be reached by anybody. It'll be strike 1. Down the right side, 0-1 the count on Orlando. Right fielder is deep, Glenn Hanna. Center fielder pulled over toward right center. Garrett spins. Pitch is swung on. Down to the second baseman, waiting for somebody to cover, and racing over, Garrett Miller beats the runner in the race for the bag. So it'll be
Pretty tough throw right there with the pitcher coming off the mound, Garrett Miller, to be able to accurately throw that ball to him. That was some kind of a play to get the out at first base.
out of position was Josh Terry, who went to his right to try and flag it down. And so there's one away here in the bottom half of the third inning. Top of the order, Eric Henson comes on. He went out third to first in his first at bat. Jeremiah Kirk is on deck. Doggy infield, Waybright, Sampson, Ford, and Terry. Miller, the pitcher, delivers ball one. 1-0 on Eric. Jeremiah Kirk, the left fielder, is on deck. The spin, pitch, he watches ball two sail by. 2-0 the count. It's amazing how many young men we have by the name of Jeremiah and Josh in the league.
Jesse, Jonah.
Yes, pitch, swing, solid smash, base hit, out into left center field. The shortstop pulled over towards second a bit, and the shot went out into left center, perhaps in an area that would be described under normal conditions as where a shortstop would be. But the way these balls are being propelled, the shift was over closer toward the bag, and that left the gap.
Second hit of the afternoon for the Cottage Grove Lions.
Runner at first with one away. Jeremiah hit by a pitch ball his first time. Ball in the dirt, popped out of the mitt of Rocky Richards as the runner at first was going with the pitch. Pilfer's second, and he is now in scoring position with one away. And Jeremiah 1-0. Waiting. Pitch is swung on. Dives. Third baseman. Throw. He's out. Throw back to bluff throw. That was a stop and a half by Jesse Waybright.
Boy, isn't he doing a great job at third base? That is the third time that he has gotten to a baseball that you had to wonder if he would get to it.
A tremendous stop and set himself, and the youngster ripped that throw over to first for the second out. Runner at third now for Cottage Grove. Two away, J.C. Hansen, who singled a run in the first inning, is your batter.
And now here he is with a runner 90 feet away, Ed, and a chance to put Cottage Grove out in front here this afternoon. Have a couple of wanderers out there, although I believe they're fully clothed. It's not what you sometimes see in the major leagues. Just a couple going through picking a blackberry or two out in right field.
Right. Probably wondering how come we got this interference for our blackberry picking trip. J.C. Hansen could put the Lions out in front this ball game. Garrett Miller ready to rock. Pitch is swung on to the first baseman. Tosses it to pitcher covering. Garrett puts a burst of speed on and beats him in the race to the bag. First to the pitcher covering. And you need to be reminded again that Josh Terry is laboring under somewhat of a handicap. Instead of trying to race to the bag, he's just thrown it. And Garrett Miller, good coverage there, good timing. Side retired with no runs. There was one hit. There were no errors and one man left on. Your score at the end of 3 full innings of play. The North Bend Bulldogs won. The Cottage Grove Lions won.
Bulldog Sports brought to you in part by Broadway Builders, your headquarters for all of your building and remodeling needs. Broadway Builders in North Bend, on Broadway, of course. For all of your hunting and fishing supplies, go see Jerry at Stuffin' Things on Cape Arago Highway. Call Stuffin' Things at 888-9787. The Virginia Street Diner returns you to the good old-fashioned eats of your favorite 50s diner. For a great breakfast, lunch, or dinner, the Virginia Street Diner on Virginia in North Bend.
Through 3, 1-1. 1 run, 4 hits for North Bend. And for the Cottage Grove Lions, 1 run and 2 hits. A stellar pitching battle going on here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove. We're getting ready for 4 and 5 and 7, 8, and 9 in the order. And ready for 4 and 5, David.
Well, Ed, it'll be Rocky Richards, Colby Todd, and Eric Chantony for the Bulldogs. Rocky led off in the second with a single and made it as far as third, but the Lions able to take care of the Bulldogs with a couple of nice plays toward the end of the inning. So Rocky will look to get the Bulldogs off to a good start here, facing Andy Mason on the mound. This guy is one whale of a great pitcher. He moves the ball around well, and Ed rarely misses the strike zone.
Very few in the way of ball dished out.
Well, we must have jinxed him. The first pitch hits Rocky, who goes out after the pitcher. And now we have a
problem. Now we have a problem. Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
People punching.
Oh, dear.
Somebody's been watching a little too much Major League ball. We have ball players all over the field knocking each other around.
My. We got a brawl.
Melee to unfold. So cooler heads will, of course, prevail. Right now, we'll take a break, and we'll be back with more action from Kelly Field here in Cottage Grove at 60 seconds on Big Bay Radio Sports.
Looked like Eric Henson, the third baseman,
We're in
came
a break
in.
here, Ed.
Oh.
We're in a 60.
Oh, okay.
Gibbs RVs, your one-stop RV center, is proud to be a supporter of North Bend Sports. Gibbs, where RV means real value, on Ocean Boulevard, Coos Bay. Other Bulldog boosters include Leon's. For the biggest, juiciest burgers in town and the perfect place to head after the game, it's Leon's on Virginia North Bend. If you can find a bigger burger, buy it.
When you watch big league baseball, when somebody gets plunked, generally they go out after the pitcher. And I think when Rocky got hit, he kind of took a little look out there at the mound and took one step out there, and he was grabbed by the catcher. And the next thing you knew, you had people from both dugouts out on the field. There's some punches being thrown. So we'll wait and see here if anybody's going to end up being ejected from the ball game. There were quite a few punches landed over there behind home plate. Hopefully nobody got hurt though, and some cooler heads prevail, and they can. They used to call it play baseball. I'm not sure about anymore.
Well, the tube is not conducive really to setting a precedent as far as what happens or doesn't happen. I think Jesse Waybright has gotten his catching paraphernalia on and going down the bullpen. It might be that he is going to be called on. I don't know if anybody has been bounced out of this ball game.
Well, we certainly hope not. And one thing with Andy Mason, he lost a pitch inside, and I don't think he had really missed anything all day. And boy, he certainly was no cause to be. And I don't believe that he was trying to hit anybody. A ball got away inside, and tempers flared, and that'll happen. But hopefully, now they get back into the baseball game and start thinking about baseball instead of what's been going on. Hoot Gibson was out there talking with the umpire, and we'll see if anybody's been asked to leave the ball game. There's a little huddle of Lions out there now in the infield, and the Bulldogs over here in the dugout.
Coach Tom Evans and Hoot Gibson were talking with the officials, and then Coach Evans decided to go out and call his entire ball club, outfielders and infielders in, and they're talking things over, and they're saying undoubtedly exactly what you're saying, David. Let's play baseball and forget the other.
I believe 2 players have been invited to leave the ball game, and I'm not sure who they are.
Okay, we'll pick it up, and
so Garrett Miller and Rocky Richards are ejected from the ball game. So after being hit by the pitch, the Bulldogs will have a runner at first, and it will not be Rocky Richards as he's been taken out of the ball game. So we'll look and see who's going to go in and run. Oftentimes, it'll be Ramos. And so it's going to be interesting to see, Ed, how this will impact the ball game when you've got 2 guys who have, Garrett Miller with a couple of hits in the ball game and Rocky Richards with a hit. 3 hits between them, and here they are in a situation where they'll have to play without them. Meanwhile, out there on the mound, a guy who's done a terrific job all afternoon, Andy Mason. He's taking a few warm-up tosses. Toby Bothorf, who is his catcher, and I think we'll get back to the ball game.
Well, we'll see what the changes are and the replacements as the inning progresses, especially when we go into the bottom half of this inning. It's Colby Tom leading it off. He got himself a sacrifice.
Looks like Ben Epperson is there taking the warm-up tosses, Ed, and I'm not sure if the catcher from Cottage Grove also was thrown out of the ball game. 2 of the Bulldogs left. It got a little wild out there for just a little bit. But I think now with Hoot Gibson talking things over with Tom Evans, and they'll get everything back to order. I know both dugouts have been warned to think about and play the game of baseball and kind of let the personal stuff go. The Bulldogs are going to have a pinch runner. I'm looking to see who's going to be on down at first. And I can't really tell from here. It might be Aaron Vanover. We're not able to see his number. Coach Nicky Hanks is down there.
Aaron was on his feet here in front of the bench a little bit ago, and I think it is indeed Aaron running for Rocky.
So Aaron Vanover will move in to run for Rocky Richards. Meanwhile, a congregation of Lions down there at second base talking it over, and if nothing else, it created a little stir of excitement here at Kelly Field.
Well, the afternoon sun beating down, you start to feel a little bit drowsy, and you've got a good pitcher's battle going, all tied up at 1-1. And then all of a sudden, we have a miniature, well, let's say, brouhaha.
It'll be Ben Epperson coming on to catch for the Cottage Grove Lions. And Vanover is going to go in and run at first base for Rocky Richards. We're just starting the fourth inning of a 1-1 ball game. And we're about ready to go. Colby Ton will step in for North Bend, had a sacrifice bunt his first time up in the second inning. Vanover takes a little bit of a lead off first, not much. Mason delivers. The ball is right there on the inside corner, taken for a strike by Colby Ton. Eric Chantony on deck for the North Bend Bulldogs. He's the designated hitter. 1-1 ball game. Dogs would like to break this tie here in the fourth inning. Epperson is going to stand up now as time is called, as Colby Ton steps out, has 1 foot out of the batter's box. Aaron Vanover on over at first base for the North Bend Bulldogs. Now Mason has the sign from Epperson, turn around and throws that ball quickly over to first base, and Colby Ton is back aboard. Count is 0-1 to the left-handed hitter, Colby Ton of the Bulldogs. Vanover takes the lead off first. Third baseman well off the bag. Over towards second. There's the pitch. Nice bunt, drag bunt, and Colby may break this one open. He makes it safe. Colby Ton laid a beautiful bunt down, a sacrifice bunt. And going into second is Aaron Vanover. Colby Ton is on at first with a bunt single, and Ed, that was a beautiful drag bunt that went no more than 15, 20 feet out in front of the box down the first baseline.
He dropped that, and it looked like it had eyes, went exactly where he wanted it to, and 2 aboard here with nobody out in the fourth. We've got Eric Chantony up there, David.
Well, Eric Chantony was hit by the pitch his first time up, and he'll stand in there against Andy Mason. We're in a 1-1 ball game on this Friday afternoon, a beautiful day here in Cottage Grove. Mason looks in at Epperson. He has the signal. Checks the runner, Aaron Vanover, down at second. Checks him again and again. And Colby says, you checked him one too many times. I'm going to step out and regroup here. Time is called.
Darren Ford is on deck. Number 3, looking for a base knock. Golden opportunity again here for the Doggies.
A 1-1 ball game. Now Mason is ready. He toes the rubber, checks the runner. Here's the pitch. Inside and taken for a ball. That'll make it 1-0 to Eric Chantony. Darren Ford is on deck for the North Bend Bulldogs. Matt Van Doren scheduled up after Darren. Interesting to see if Matt moves to the catcher's position for the Bulldogs, since the Bulldogs lost Rocky Richards in the melee. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Bunt show to hit him right on the foot. And down to first base will go Eric Chantony, who is hit by the pitch. So the Bulldogs now have loaded the bases with nobody out in the fourth inning. Aaron Vanover, running for Richards, goes to third. Colby Ton is on down at second, and over at first. Oh, now they say Chantony won't get the base. Well, he was hit by the pitch, but apparently maybe it glanced off the bat or something, so it's a foul ball.
So it's even out now at 1-1.
Got ahead of myself. It's 1-1. Eric was down at first base and invited to come back. So runners are on at the corners now as Vanover made his way over to third on the pitch. Lead off first by Colby Ton. Nobody out. Swing and a miss for a strike. Chantony hopping around a little bit on that left foot that was drilled by the baseball. Apparently went off his bat, and the count is 1-2.
He got plunked by a pitch in the second. Now we have this other come up.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Mason looks into Epperson. Likes the signal, turns around, fires over to first base. Good save down there by the first baseman for the Cottage Grove Lions, who had to kind of reach around in front of Colby Ton, J.C. Hansen.
Look where the left fielder is, David, and the rest of the outfield defense. The left fielder is way over to the right.
Almost to center
left
field.
Center, that's correct.
And the center fielder is over well into right field, and the right fielder is over in the berry patch.
The Bovines could really romp if he hit one out where the shortstop normally would be.
Eric Chantony. Count is 1-2 from Mason. Checks the runner. and then steps off the rubber. Got to mull it over a little
The
bit.
shortstop was about 2 feet away from the second base cushion, and the second baseman pulled way over here to clog what would have been the hole between first and second.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. It is slapped high out toward first base, and stepping over to make the grab is, it looks like, the second baseman for the Lions, and there's one away here on a pop fly by Darren Ford. That'll bring Matt Van Doren up to the plate, or rather Darren Ford up to the plate. That was Chantity with the foul pop that was taken by the second baseman. So we have runners at first and third, Colby Ton at first, and Aaron Vanover over at third with 1 out, and Darren Ford steps in for the Bulldogs. Darren 0 for 2, flew out to right field in the first and grounded to the pitcher in the second. A throw over to first base. JC makes the grab, and Colby is back aboard the bag.
The outfield pulls around back to a more normal playing position with the exception of the shortstop. Still that big hole there.
Mason has the sign from Epperson, delivers strike. Here's the throw down to second, and Colby steals it. Now the ball is going out into short center field. Colby will hold on, and coming in to score is Aaron Vanover. So the Bulldogs now take a 2-1 lead on the throw from the catcher all the way down to second base. It got into short center field. Tagging and scoring was Aaron Vanover, and North Bend takes a 2-1 lead. Colby Ton is aboard at second for the Bulldogs. Darren Ford, meanwhile, standing in against Mason. Here's the let-up pitch. It's taken for a strike. Nice pitch by Mason. Runs the count to 0-2 to Darren Ford. He looks down toward the coaching box to Hoot Gibson.
Matt Van Doren in the on-deck circle directly in front of us, followed by Jeremy.
Checking the runner down at second. Mason delivers. It's strike 3 called. And Darren Ford is out of there on a called strike 3. That'll be the second strikeout of the ball game for Andy Mason, and that'll bring Matt Van Doren to the plate for the Bulldogs with 2 outs, and Colby Ton down at second base. In the on-deck circle, it's Jeremy Sampson for the Bulldogs. North Bend 2, Cottage Grove 1 on this Friday afternoon here at Kelly Field. Here's the delivery. Let up pitch, swing and a miss for strike 1. Matt Van Doren takes a big cut on the second floor, and that ball dropped off down around the basement for a strike. Colby, pretty good leadoff second, not too much company. Now the second baseman kind of makes his way over. He's right on the bag. Colby leaning towards second and then steps back aboard as Mason climbs off the rubber and wheels the ball.
Accompanied by the usual balk.
Mason delivers. Ball in the dirt. Check swing and heading on down to third. Colby Ton slides in with a swiped cushion. Colby Ton makes his way to third with a stolen base. And the Bulldogs, leading 2-1, have Colby Ton 90 feet away at third with 2 out, and Matt Van Doren at the plate with a count of 0-2. Mason has just been tremendous keeping that ball in the strike zone this afternoon. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Got him on a called strike 3. So Mason comes on and strikes out 2 Bulldogs in a row. He gets Ford and Van Doren. And North Bend is gone in the fourth, but they do score 1 run. They got it on 1 hit. There were no errors, or there was 1 error, and there's 1 dog left aboard. As we head to the bottom of the 4th inning here in Cottage Grove, now the North Bend Bulldogs 2 and the Cottage Grove Lions 1.
Gibbs RVs, your one-stop RV center, is proud to be a supporter of North Bend sports. Gibbs, where RV means real value, on Ocean Boulevard, Coos Bay. Other Bulldog boosters include Leon's. For the biggest, juiciest burgers in town and the perfect place to head after the game, it's Leon's on Virginia North Bend. If you can find a bigger burger, buy it. Also, South Coast Printing, where they'll make any print job look good, including design, layout for letterheads, brochures, and logos, and more. It's South Coast Printing.
Welcome back to Cottage Grove, along with Ed Kime and Ron Dance. David Walker, beautiful afternoon. North Bend leads it 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. It'll be the catcher, would have been Toby Bothorf, but he was thrown out of the ball game along with Garrett Miller and Rocky Richards of the Bulldogs during the start of the 4th inning when things got a little unruly here when one of the Bulldogs, Rocky Richards, was hit by a pitch. So there'll be a change for Cottage Grove. We'll see if it's Ben Epperson, since he went in for Toby Bothorf. Matt Van Doren will come on to catch for the Bulldogs. as we anticipated.
Going out in left field is Aaron Vanover, and we do get a chance to see Russ Johnston come on for the Bulldogs, David.
North Bend making a pitching change as Garrett Miller was forced out of the ball game during the melee, and Russ Johnston will come on. Ed, my understanding is this fella, Russ Johnston, has performed very well for the junior varsity this year for the Bulldogs.
That's my understanding, and we've been looking forward to seeing him out on the hill. This will be his first outing, and he will be facing, obviously, for the first time in this game, and probably first time in varsity competition, young Epperston.
Well, Ben Epperson, he's a big fella. He's the catcher for Cottage Grove. Takes high for ball one from Johnston. That'll bring Andy Mason into the on-deck circle. Russ wheels, delivers, swung on, out to left field. Giving chase is Vanover. It'll go all the way to the wall in left field. Epperson wheels around first and takes a turn at second and stays right aboard the bag. So a leadoff double by Epperson has things going here for Cottage Grove in the bottom of the fourth inning.
He belted that all the way to the Hurricane fence in left field, and I think ground rule double the way the thing's set up.
That'll bring up Andy Mason, who, as we mentioned, is a great sticker, although he did hit into the double play back in the first inning. Epperson, a leadoff double for Cottage Grove. North Bend leading it 2-1 here at Kelly Field. There's a nice wrinkler that's taken for a strike. Johnston, Russ delivers to Mason. It's 0-1. Levi Herman, the Cottage Grove second baseman, is on deck for the Grovers. Johnston has the sign from Matt Van Doren. Checks the runner. Down at second. Pitch is bunted right off the bag. Picked up by Johnston. Dropped. Picks it up. Fires and couldn't get it there in time. So there are runners at the corners as Mason gets an infield single. Johnston goes over to third, and the Lions now have what would be the leading run on the base paths with nobody out here in the fourth inning, and Levi Herman comes on for Cottage Grove.
Trying to jockey around here on my score sheet. I'll just wait until they get up here, and we'll go from there.
Levi Herman popped up to the first baseman. Nice catch, too, by big Josh Terry. Here's a throw over to first. Terry makes the grab, but back aboard the bag is Andy Mason. Lions have runners on the corners. North Bend, Waybright playing right even with the bag at third. Russ Johnston checks the runner, delivers, belted down to third, and it's picked off. Here comes the throw. They've got him in a rundown, and now he gets away, and he's safe, and everybody's safe. Bulldogs misplayed. They had Epperson picked off third, and now the bags are full of Lions, and there's nobody out here in the fourth inning. Big play for Cottage Grove.
Ball grabbed down at third base, threw it to the plate, and as you mentioned, David had him in the rundown. Matthew was chasing him back toward third base, and the third baseman was a little out of position when he threw the ball, and third was not covered in time.
So a big inning erupting here for Cottage Grove. Bases loaded, nobody out. Ball drilled out into center field. It'll drop for a base hit, and one run is coming on to score. Second runner decides he'll hold at third, and Epperson has tied the ball game at 2. It's an RBI single for Jonah Gladney. And the Cottage Grove Lions have tied the ball game. Andy Mason goes over to third. Levi Herman is on at second. And Jonah Gladney is at first. Gladney with the RBI single. That'll bring up Jesse Neat, who grounded to third, his first time up. 2-2 ball game here. Nobody out. The Lions, 3 hits and 1 fielder's choice. That ball belted for a big hit down the line. Did it go foul? It looked like it curled foul off the third baseline. It did. That thing missed by about 3 feet from being probably a double. Bulldogs get lucky there. It's a long strike to Jesse Neat. Now here comes Hoot Gibson out of the dugout to talk to Russ Johnston, who was victimized by the ill-fated play on the wrap down to third base that the Bulldogs were not able to get that lead runner, who eventually came in to tie the ball game. Bases loaded and nobody out. And Jesse Neat at the plate. Orlando Mitchell is on deck. And then Eric Henson scheduled for Cottage Grove. Right now, Neat at the plate. He is the 5th batter of the inning for the Cottage Grove Lions.
There may be somebody loosening up in the right field bullpen, David. I saw some activity at the bench. a couple of players heading there on the other side. Of course, the roof and the cover for the bench is blocking our view out in that direction.
Well, North Bend approaching this game with a little different perspective, Ed, as they're pretty much in the playoffs, but still they had things going pretty well with Garrett Miller on the mound. And now a throw to second. They've got the runner picked off second base. Now they tag him. Here comes the throw down to the catcher. He's out of there at home plate. Hey, a nice throw down the line from Sampson, Ed, to Matt Van Doren, and they pick off Andy Mason at home plate. Oh, he was saying, yes, he scored. Looked like he was indicating he was out. They say that he scored, and Hoot Gibson had to go up the line and ask the umpire what he'd called. His call was very wishy-washy. I wasn't sure if he said he's out of there or if he had scored.
Very nebulous. Runner is at second base, and Cottage Grove now leads it by a score of 3-2.
And the guy out of there was the guy off second, Levi Herman. I'm assuming. I hate to assume anything the way this day is going. Here's the pitch. It's golfed high and foul off behind us, and it'll be a strike.
0-2 on neat, David.
That's a neat count. That'll bring up Orlando Mitchell. It's Zach Manfold in the bullpen for the North Bend Bulldogs. Pitch comes inside and high to Neat, and the count is 1-2 from Russ Johnston. Orlando Mitchell is on deck for the Cottage Grove Lions. It's a 3-2 ball game. Lions on top. Here's the pitch, and it's taken low for ball two. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One out here in the 4th inning. And Cottage Grove 2 runs across and more danger with the guy down at second. Here's the pitch. Weaved at and missed for strike 3. Russ Johnston gets his first strikeout of the ball game. There are 2 gone, and Orlando Mitchell climbs in there for the Cottage Grove Lions. Orlando had his hit turned into an out on a beautiful throw by Josh Terry. Here's the pitch, down to second, picked up by Ford. On to Terry at first for out number 3, and the Lions are gone on the play 4-3. But Cottage Grove comes up with 2 runs in the inning, and they get the 2 runs on 3 base hits. There were no errors in the inning, and the Lions leave 1 guy aboard. As we head to the 5th inning here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove, it's the Cottage Grove Lions 3 and the North Bend Bulldogs 2.
Supporting North Bend Sports, Coos Curry Federal Credit Union, Choke Hill, Bandon, North Bend, and Reed Sport member NCUA. Coos Curry Federal Credit Union, a proud Bulldog booster. Also, the Humboldt Club and Restaurant. Luana and the friendly staff invite you in for great home cooking fit for the heartiest appetite. The Humboldt Club, downtown North Bend. Video and more, the Bay Area's video superstore always has 5 movies for 5 days for $5. Regular titles only. Video and more on Virginia Avenue, North Bend. All Bulldog boosters.
Jeremy Sampson will lead it off for North Bend in the 5th inning. North Bend trailing 3-2 here in a game that was kind of lazily meandering, going in fine fashion. Garrett Miller looked in good control out there on the mound, and then the Bulldogs, Rocky Richards was hit by a pitch, and there were bodies all over the place flying around, people banging on each other, and the next thing you know, 3 people are ejected from the ball game, one of the Lions and a couple of the Bulldogs. North Bend makes a pitching change. Cottage Grove follows North Bend in the 4th inning. The Bulldogs got 1 run to take a 2-1 lead, but the Lions had a very nice job working around a couple of runs in the 4th, and they take a 3-2 lead over the Bulldogs. Mason on the mound for Cottage Grove. Andy has done a nice job. He faces Jeremy Sampson, who singled in the 1st and grounded to 3rd back in the 3rd inning. He's the leadoff batter. Pitch is inside and taken for a ball by Jeremy Sampson.
Jeremy is single in the 1st, went out 3rd to 1st in the 3rd inning.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Mason shakes off the sign from Epperson. Now goes into the wind, delivers in the dirt. Nice block, though, by Ben Epperson. And the count is 2-0. Jeremy Sampson bangs a little dust off the cleats. Russ Johnston is on deck for the North Bend Bulldogs. Here's the delivery, way high, up around the neck, and the count is 3-0 to Jeremy Sampson.
Jeremy had a notion to go for that one. He just curbed the impulse. He'd stepped into it, except the bat didn't come around.
North Bend a run in the first, a run in the fourth. Down by 1 here, 3-2. Here's the delivery. This one is taken for a strike. It's 3 balls and a strike. Midwestern League Baseball right here on KBBR. North Bend, Coos Bay.
The old bromide
From Cottage Grove. 3-1 to Jeremy Sampson. Here's the wind by Mason. He delivers. Swing and a miss for strike 2. And the count is 3-2 to Jeremy. Jeremy Sampson was way ahead on the count at 3-0. Oh, now he's thrown him out of the ball game. Jeremy is being tossed out of the ball game. So the umpire, who, to quote, says, "I haven't had a game quite like this all year." Well, I certainly hope not. Ejects Jeremy Sampson, who was not happy with the strike. So the count is 3-2, and he's going to be called out of there. So there's 1 gone. got 2 for 1 there, Ed. 2 strikes for 1 pitch. Went from 3-0. 2 pitches later, it's a strikeout. And there's a called strike on Russ Johnston with 1 out here in the inning.
It's a strange one, David, to say the least. 0-1 on Russ Johnston.
Well, the game has definitely gotten out of hand, and the guy's just trying to get a little control here. Way high with the pitch. And the count is 1-1 to Russ. Glenn Hanna on deck for North Bend. 3-2, Cottage Grove leading the Bulldogs here. Mason has the sign. He goes into the delivery. Swung on. Wrapped out towards center field. Running over to his right, making the call, and chucking it away is the center fielder for the Lions. A nice catch out there in the middle of the field by Jesse Neat, and there are 2 gone. Actually, 1 2/3 gone, and that'll bring up Glenn Hanna.
Glenn is 0 for 2 in the ball game. Popped up to first in the first. Fielder's choice in the third. And I've been around for a couple of ball games over the years, David. Never quite won on that Jeremy.
Here's the pitch. It's creamed high to left field. Left fielder giving chase, turns around, leans after it. It's off his glove, and did he make the grab and hang on to it? Apparently he did. That'll be out number 3, so the Bulldogs are gone in the 5th inning. A nice catch out there in left field for Cottage Grove by Jeremiah Kirk. And the Bulldogs go 1, 2, 3. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. As we head to the bottom of the 5th here in Cottage Grove, it's the Lions 3 and the Bulldogs 2.
North Bend Bulldog Sports brought to you in part by Jewel Insurance. Jewel Insurance has proudly served generations of insurance needs in the Bay Area and look forward to taking care of your family for generations to come. Jewel Insurance, North Bend and Coquille. Enjoy fresh, cold, clear, pure, and delicious Cascade Mountain drinking water delivered to your home or office and installed by Van West Services. Call 267-7438 or 1-800-633-8363.
Welcome back to Kelly Field. It's the Bulldogs in the field now as the Lions come to the plate in the bottom of the 5th inning. Eric Henson, Jeremiah Kirk, and J.C. Hansen. And the Lions have taken a 3-2 lead over the Bulldogs. And just a little contentiousness as Sampson was called out on strikes on the 2nd strike. He didn't quite get it, but he's out of there. And now the Bulldogs, Ed, really looking to kind of focus at the ball game. They're talking about it in the dugout a little bit. You know, you got to get out and play the ball game. And Cottage Grove has really done a nice job here playing above all of the brouhaha's going on in this game this afternoon. The Lions getting the job done.
And they lead it by 1, and possibility of adding to it as the top of the order comes in.
It'll be Eric Henson here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Henson is 1 for 2. He grounded to third and singled. Shoots one down in the gap. Picked up by Sampson. No, it got through all the way down into left field for Eric Henson. He is safely aboard, and the Lions now again with the leadoff runner on board. So Henson reaches on the air, and Jeremiah Kirk will come to the plate here for Cottage Grove. That was the first error of the ball game on the North Bend Bulldogs. Russ Johnston on the mound. Leadoff runner is aboard, pitches low and outside for ball one to Jeremiah Kirk, who made a fine catch in left field to get the Lions out of that last inning. Here's the quick throw over to first, and safely back aboard is Eric Henson. Here's the delivery. Nice pitch. He got him on the strike. The throw down to second, not in time. Darren Ford tried to catch Henson, who had taken off early, and gets the stolen sack. The count is 1-1 to Jeremiah Kirk. J.C. Hansen on deck for Cottage Grove. Lions lead it here 3-2. We're in the bottom of the fifth inning at Kelly Field. Here's the 1-1 delivery by Johnston. Almost cutting at it was the batter, but Jeremiah held up on the swing, and the count is 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike to Jeremiah Kirk. Bulldogs got a run in the first and a run in the fourth. Cottage Grove got a run in the first and then came back with a couple of runs in the fourth inning. Here's the pitch. He tried for the bunt, and the ball is fouled back behind home plate. The count is even at 2-2 to Kirk.
The runner at second was off and running with the pitch, David, but he has to go back. He had a little exercise.
Jesse Waybright playing up on the grass at third towards second base. Russell Johnston delivers the pitch, and it's ball 4. Down to first base on the walk goes Jeremiah Kirk. So there are runners on at first and second for the Cottage Grove Lions. Nobody out. And J.C. Hansen, the left-handed swinger, will come to the plate. J.C. is the first baseman for the Bulldogs. Now Hoot Gibson comes out. We're going to have a pitching change. It looks like maybe Darren Ford is going to come on and throw for the Bulldogs. Russ Johnston is going to make his way out to second base. He'll take over the chores at second, and Darren will come in and pitch. And Ed, the one thing that Hoot is not going to do is use his pitchers, Sampson and Vanover, if at all possible. He wants to rest them because North Bend finds themselves in a good position for the playoffs here, and those guys have tired arms. He does not want to bring them in here to this ball game.
Good, solid thinking, David. They have done yeoman chores, and we'll have a chance to watch Darren perform out on the hill. The tremendous athlete. He's a good sticker. He'll play short for you, play second for you. He's out on the hill now. He works behind the plate. I think we've seen him over at third base. He's a good handyman to have about. And the Doggies in this one find themselves down 3-2 in the bottom half of the fifth inning, with the Lions having 2 men aboard and nobody out. A real tough situation for Darren to come on in.
Now, one thing about Darren Ford, Ed, and you just alluded to it, he's a competitor. He'll do whatever he can do, and he'll do it as well as he can do it at 100%. And see what happens when it's all said and done. But really, you got to like the way this guy approaches sports. He likes to get in there and just see what can happen.
It's a trait that runs in the Ford family. Our buddy Ryan, of course, a very special favorite through the years, even though he's trying to get me on a plane.
You're reevaluating now that he's become a pilot, or what?
No. I've said many times my cowardice overshadows the respect and admiration I have for him.
I'm saying you and Ryan will do a nice job when you finally get up in the air together. All right, here we go. Darren Ford on the mound to face J.C. Hansen, left-handed hitter. Darren is a right-handed pitcher for the Bulldogs. Runner for the Lions is on down at second and a runner at first. First pitch is taken low for a ball to J.C. Hansen. Jeremiah Kirk is the Lion aboard at first, and Eric Henson, who reached on the error, is down at second. He stole second. Here's the delivery. It's taken for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to J.C. Hansen. On deck is Big Ben Epperson, who doubled and came around to score the tying run back in the fourth inning. Darren checks the runner off second. 1-1 pitch, slap back to Ford. He looks to third, got the force at third. Here's the throw back across to Terry, not in time. And the Bulldogs have 2 away. A nice job by Darren Ford, Ed, as that ball was wrapped to him in a hurry. He turned around and made the nice throw over to third to get Eric Henson, as he was off with the ball being hit. So there are 2 out. Jeremiah Kirk is on down at second, and here comes Ben Epperson in to face Darren Ford. Epperson came on to replace Botorf, who was tossed from the game in the fourth inning melee. Here's the pitch by Darren Ford. Strike on the outside corner. Boy, a nice fastball by Darren Ford. Matt Van Doren catching for the Bulldogs. North Bend's Rocky Richards also thrown out of the game back in the fourth, along with Garrett Miller, who started the game on the mound for the Bulldogs. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Ford. A little loop-de-loo, and it only looped. It didn't de-loo, and the count is 1-1. Not quite an Ethos pitch, was it, Ed? Close. Lions at first and second, 2 gone. Here's the 1-1 pitch. He went around for strike 2. He was looking to try and hold up, but Epperson had a lot of momentum build up, Ed, with that bat. He's a big, solid youngster. The count is 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Checking the runner. Now Ford has the sign from Matt Van Doren. Here's the pitch. Swung on. Drilled to the right and way foul down the right field line. The count will hold at 1-2 strikes.
Don't forget that ball game Monday when the Willamette Wolverines move in to Clyde Allen Field. Hope to see you folks out there. It's going to be a big ball game for the Doggies.
Monday, final regular season game of the year. Here's the 1-2 pitch. He took something off it, swing and a miss for strike 3. And Darren Ford strikes out Big Ben Epperson for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Andy Mason now for Cottage Grove. Mason, a dangerous hitter, singled and came around to score what is the go-ahead run for Cottage Grove. He did that back in the fourth inning. Here's the pitch. Swung on, wrapped down in the hole. Picked up by the second baseman. He makes a high throw over the top of Terry's head, and coming in to score the run for Cottage Grove, it'll be Jeremiah Kirk, and it's a 4-2 ball game. The Lions on top as Kirk scores on the error. But no, they got the play down at first, so the run will not count, Ed. They had counted the run, and then they looked up and realized that stepping on first, a nice play by the Bulldogs, and going out of there was the runner down from first. So the Bulldogs get out of the inning without allowing a run. We've seen more strange twists and turns to this ball game than any we've seen this year.
Russ Johnston, I think, thought he needed a double play. He kicked the bag to get the force of the man going down from first base, and then his throw over to first, trying to get the fourth out, which was not needed, was wild, but the inning was over.
So for the Cottage Grove Lions, they get no runs, there were no hits, there was an error, and there's 1 man left aboard. We head to the 6th inning here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove. Still, the Lions 3 and the North Bend Bulldogs 2.
The Bulldogs, brought to you by Ticor Title, with offices in Coos Bay and Coquille, the professional serving your real estate transaction needs for over 100 years. Ticor Title, Honda World, home of the Passport, Honda cars, and newest in vans, the Odyssey. Honda World, a world of quality Honda products, Ocean Boulevard, Coos Bay. For fresh produce, meats, and groceries, think of your IGA hometown proud McKay's Markets. Always proud to provide continuing support of our youth. IGA McKay's Markets.
Here in the top half of the 6th inning, the Doggies will come to bat to see what they can do about getting this ball game locked up again. And let's take a look. We've got Zach Manful, who is getting ready to move in there here in the 6th inning. He will be batting for Josh Terry.
Well, Zach Manful, he's another one of those guys, Ed, who can perform at some different positions. Left-handed pitcher. We've seen him play a little bit in the outfield. And here he is coming in for Josh Terry to bat to lead off.
So Andy Mason gets ready to pitch to Zach. Looks the first one over. It's in there for a strike. 0-1 on Zach Manful. Getting ready to move in is Aaron. Pitch is followed down by Zach. It's taken for ball 1. Evens it up at 1-1.
Good contingent of fans from North Bend here to watch the game. Came over the mountain. And those of you listening in on the radio, thank you. Beautiful afternoon here in Cottage Grove.
Swung on and skied. It's out of play. The count runs to 1 ball and 2 strikes on Zach. Slicing it off. Aaron Vanover came in the 4th inning, running after Rocky had been flunked. Pitch is swung on, skied high toward third base. Third baseman looking for it, makes the grab. pop-up to the third baseman for the Lions. Eric Henson puts one away and brings the bat Aaron Vanover.
Well, the Bulldogs head down to their final 4 outs of the ball game here. Look to get something cooking, but Mason has just done an outstanding job out there on the mound for Cottage Grove.
So let's see what Aaron can do. He's a good sticker to go along with his other attributes. Pitch on the way, lean back from ball 1. 1-0 the count. Colby Ton is on deck for the Bulldogs. Andy Mason looking down. He's given up 5 hits to the Doggies. Wheels it in. Pitch is cut on and it's for a strike. Evens up at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on right-handed hitting Aaron Vanover. Monday, Willamette will be in town. A big ball game as the regular season comes to a close. Ball fouled back to the screen. Runs it to 1-2 on Aaron.
Boy, Mason really has a nice-looking fastball, Ed. He can get that ball to the plate in a hurry. And what I really like about watching him pitch is the way he mixes up his speeds. His location is pinpoint here in this ball game for the most part. He's been right around the plate.
Pulled the string on it a little bit and took it for ball 2. Aaron, showing that steel nerve that he has, he did not go for it. Pitch very close.
I think only once in the ball game today has Mason got a 3-ball count on anyone.
He won't there as the ball is shot out into right center field for a base hit. The center fielder racing over, Jesse Neat, and whips it back in towards second. So the Doggies have the tying run at first base. As Colby Ton comes up, Colby is 1 for 1. Got a sacrifice in the second. Got a bunt single in the 4th inning. Pilfered a couple of sacks and was left stranded at third. On deck, Eric Champney, the DH. Runner at first with 1 out, being held by J.C. Hansen for the Lions. Time taken as Colby steps out. Then, as Colby gets ready to go in, the chess game starts. We have Ben Epperson, the catcher, calling timeout to go out and talk with his pitcher. Make sure they're on the same wavelength. Comes back behind the plate, and shortly we'll be ready to go. Ball game that's seen a little bit of everything. Bullet throw over to first, but lo and behold, Aaron was standing on the cushion. Doggies trail 3-2. Target is set. In tight to Colby, shortened up on the bat as if he was going to dump it. And it is 1-0. Steps out a minute, flexes his shoulders.
Colby looking down toward Hoot Gibson there, who either has indigestion or it's that hand sliding across the midsection there is the signal.
Somewhere in there is what they want. There's a quick throw and a swipe by the first baseman. And J.C. Hansen thought that throw and that tag should have gotten him, but no, it did not. 1-0, Colby waiting. Finally, we have Mason squaring off. There goes the pitch. It's fouled back to the screen. Evens it up at 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike, your count.
Colby making the most of his time in the batter's box, Ed. He spent more time there than any of the Bulldogs, and he's only seen 2 pitches.
Doggies 1 in the first, so did Cottage Grove. Dogs 1 in the 4th, Cottage Grove 2 in the 4th. And that's the story of the ball game as we're in the top half of the 6th. Throw over to first again to no avail. Third baseman Eric Henson is way off the bag and in on the grass, not trusting Colby.
Well, you know, we have to thank, again, Colby's mom and dad, Ed, giving up their nice soft lawn chairs to us here.
Absolutely. Deeply appreciated. Would have been a long afternoon standing in this beautiful sun. He started to slide up on the bat as if he was going to bunt, took the pitch high for ball 2.
You know, he's bunted the ball twice, once a sacrifice and then beat one out for a bunt single. Colby is probably the best bunter that we see.
Both of those that he laid down were excellent. Picture perfect. Here it is. Bunt, dragged down the first baseline. Pitcher has it, throws to first, then the sacrifice is accomplished. So it'll be a sacrifice for Colby Ton to get the tying run down at second. Pitcher had only 1 place to go, and that was over to first. Brings up Eric Champney, who is 0 for 1, popped the second in the 4th, and hit by a pitch ball in the second.
Well, the Bulldogs have the tying run down at second in scoring position if Eric can deliver a single.
Doggies have threatened in all except the fifth. There's a smash out toward left. Chasing it, left fielder. He did not get it. It's in there and up with it. The ball got away, and the runner, the batter, Chantney, streaks on over to third. So, a single for Eric Chantney ties up the ball game here in the sixth. The left fielder, good try by Jeremiah Kirk. He dove for the ball, couldn't come up with it. Coming in the score, off running with 2 out, was Aaron Vanover.
And you know, that just points out, Ed, you take a guy like Colby Ton, and a sacrifice is a sacrifice. You don't get credit for the at-bat. You're not going to see it anywhere. He'll be 1 for 1 in the box tomorrow morning. But 2 sacrifice bunts, a bunt single, that one eventually produced the run when Eric hit the single.
So the tie-breaking run is at third, and Darren Ford, now the pitcher, is your batter. So far, Darren has drawn a blank in 3 tries with Andy Mason. Right-handed batter. Mason checks out of his stretch. Pitch to Darren is a strike. 0-1 the count. We are brand new here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove, 3-3. Ball is swung on foul back over the screen for strike 2. 0-2 the count.
Well, Andy Mason has handcuffed Darren Ford and done a nice job. Darren drove the ball the first time. He was up deep into right field, but a nice catch out there by the Lions.
Runner off at third. Pitch is waved at and missed. Got by the catcher. And so the strikeout is recorded. Here in the 6th inning, they said that Epperson got Darren with the tag. So swinging, third strike, takes care of Darren Ford. Becomes strikeout number 4 for Andy Mason. The Doggies go down, not before they come up with 1 run. There were 2 base hits. There were no errors and 1 runner left on the bases. At the end of 5 1/2, the score, Bulldogs 3, Cottage Grove Lions 3.
Brown Studios on Sherman and North Bend and South 7th in Coos Bay supports the North Bend.
The Pacers are offering Larry Bird between $3 and $4 million.
Baseman Jonah Gladney, shortstop. Jesse Neat, the center fielder, getting ready to come on to face Darren Ford. Third pitcher used by the Bulldogs here this afternoon. Garrett Miller started, did very well, was chased from the ball game along with Rocky Richards. Russ Johnston came in, and then he was followed by Darren Ford, with Russ going over to play second base. So the Doggy infield has Waybright at third, Sampson at short, Johnston at second, and Terry is at first.
Seeing a little bit of everything this afternoon, Ed, and Hoot Gibson told us that coming in here. He said, hey, we figure we have the playoffs. We're going to do some interesting things here, whatever we can to rest our pitchers.
Pitch from Darren is taken outside for ball 1. So a lot of those interesting things have followed the script, and then there have been a couple of postscripts thrown in. In the dirt, ball 2, skidded into the glove and out of the glove of the catcher, Matt Van Dorn, who started the game out in left field.
You know, the way that the Bulldogs are picking pitchers, Ed, nobody who's ever pitched, you may get in there today.
That's a possibility. Bad mistake. Pitch is a strike, 2-1.
Now, there was a strike called. It was dropped by the catcher, but it remains a strike. Just checking. I guess in some areas they changed that if the called strike is dropped by the catcher.
That's what I understand. An interesting theory. Pitch is outside, ball 3. 3-1. Just adds a little extra ammunition to have a close chit-chat. Pitch, walked him. So the first man up is on, drawing a walk off Darren Ford. That'll be walk number 1 off Darren. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Levi Herman perched over at first base. And we're going to take a break here for a moment. We're
going to make a pitching change and see who comes in here. I'm wondering if they'll bring Sampson on because he would be the Bulldog pitcher that has been resting, who probably has the most accuracy at this point. Vanover, of course, generally comes on in relief, but he has worked yeoman duty as far as number of innings pitched. So they'll see if he can come on and put out the fire. But as they make the change here, Ed, North Bend with 3 runs on 7 hits. Cottage Grove 3 runs on 5 hits. A great one here at Kelly Field in the sunshine this afternoon at Cottage Grove. Andy Mason, he's gone all the way for the Lions and done a super job here this afternoon. Let's take a break as Jeremy Sampson takes his warm-up throws, and we'll return to Kelly Field after we take a break. 30 seconds, if you please, for the Bulldog Boosters.
The Bulldogs, brought to you by Coos Bay Fabrication, where you can count on the professionals to handle any size welding or fabrication project, from the smallest screw to welding a part on a barge. Coos Bay Fabrication, next to the airport, North Bend. Bay Center Auto Supply offers a new line of stock, dress-up stuff for your pickup, and special low prices monthly on selected items. If you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it. Bay Center Auto Supply, Bayshore Drive, Coos Bay, supporting North Bend Bulldog sports.
Well, I'll tell you, Ed, we're seeing a lot of position changes here with Jeremy coming on. Matt Van Doren catching. Of course, Rocky Richards started at catcher, but he's one who was invited to leave in that 4th inning when 3 players were ejected. It looks like Darren Ford is going to go over and play at third. Waybright maybe moving to short.
He did. I still think Johnston may be over at third.
I think Johnston is over at second now. That's definitely Darren Ford at third, number 3. Here's Sampson's first pitch, and it's taken for ball 1. So Sampson comes on with 1 on and nobody out here in the 6th inning.
Gladney, the batter. Throw to first is not in time. Trying to nail Levi Herman. Thank you, sir. My defense sheet is departing here a couple of times. The gentleman very kind to flag it for me. Pitch in the dirt. Throw down to second, not in time. So they have a runner down at second. Represents the go-ahead run.
I thought you were talking about defense in front of us here, Ed. But that's more of a chain link variety.
It is. So a runner down at second, 2-0 on the batter. Gladney on deck is Jesse Neat. Sliding up to bunt the ball was Gladney. He let it go, and it's a strike called on him. 2-1. Jeremy Sampson out on the hill for the Dogs. Pitch is a bunt try, misses it. So it's even out at 2-2. Jonah made a pass at the ball. Ball would have none of it. It's 2-2. Runner down at second, Levi Herman. Pitch to the plate. Tight. Ball 3. Full count on Jonah. We are tied at 3 here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So Jeremy comes on, strikes out Jonah Gladney swinging, puts 1 away, brings up Jesse Neat, who so far is 0 for 2. Went down swinging in the 4th, grounded out third first in the 2nd. Pitch to the plate. In the dirt, nice block by Van Doren, ball 1. Blocked it out in front of him.
Levi Herman down at second base, not getting too far off, but certainly trying to get the attention and divert the attention of Jeremy Sampson.
Third baseman in on the grass. Just in case. Swing and a miss. Evens it out at 1-1. Healthy cut by Jesse Neat. Center fielder for Cottage Grove. Climbs back in again. Stands deep in the right-handed hitter's box. Feet fairly wide spread. Sampson 1-1. Steve Wright called. 1-2 on Jesse. That puts Jeremy Sampson out in front of the batter. He can try and play a game or two or go right after him. Let's see what happens. Outfield straightaway for the Doggies. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Jeremy comes in, gets the first 2 men to face him on swinging third strikes, and brings on Orlando Mitchell, the right fielder.
This guy's kind of scary, Ed. He's 0 for 2 in the ball game, but he just looks like he could hit that baseball.
He's grounded out twice, once second to the pitcher covering and second to first on the other. Where's number 2? The outfield pulls around to the right. Pretty good lead down at second base. Sampson off the rubber. Worlds does not throw.
And again, here at Kelly Field, a very short porch in right field, only 267. That is a pokeable distance.
Gloved by the second baseman, throws the pitcher covering. He is out. Beautiful recovery there. Second to the pitcher covering, and Orlando Mitchell is out of there to retire the side with no runs. There were no hits. There were no errors. One man left on, as Jeremy and the second baseman exchange high fives on that well-executed play. The sixth inning is history. We are tied. Cottage Grove 3, North Bend 3.
North Bend Sports brought to you by Pacific Optical Lab, committed to your clear vision. For all your eyewear needs, see Pacific Optical Lab, 169 North 2nd in Coos Bay. Lamco and the Party Zone are easy to find on Sherman in North Bend. The perfect cabinets from Lamco and everything for a party or a wedding at Party Zone. Lamco and the Party Zone, a winning combination. Pony Village Motor Lodge offers award-winning entrees for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week, and great music in the Captain's Lounge on Virginia in North Bend.
Here in the seventh inning, Matt Van Doren, the left fielder, Jeremy Sampson, the shortstop, and then we will have Russ Johnston probably coming on to see what they can do to get something stirred up against the Cottage Grove Lions in a 3-3 ball game.
We haven't seen Andy Mason this year, Ed. He, of course, has been the top pitcher for the Lions. He did a nice job for them last year, and we were feared that we'd see him again, and we have, and he's done very well up on the hill. Playing there. He's given up 3 runs in this ball game. You wonder how his arm is doing this late in the season, if in fact he is tiring, although he's been right around the bag. He's given up 7 hits, but scattered them well in 3 runs. His strikeout situation, what is he, up around 4 or 5 for the ball game?
He is 4, and Matt Van Doren will lead it here in the 7th. Fouls off the first pitch for strike 1. Matt called out on strikes in the 4th, popped to second in the 2nd, safe on an error in the 1st. Eventually come in on a single by Garrett Miller. 3-3 ball game here at Kelly Field. Pitch is high. Evens it up at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Matthew. As the beautiful sun sinks slowly, cooling down just a little bit. Sun just as warm as it was. Ball is swung on. Skied off. Second baseman backpedaling on the right side, grabs it shallow on the grass in right field for out number 1. Hopper to the second baseman. Second time that Matt has gone out that route. Taken by Levi Herman, and moving in is Jeremy Sampson, who is 1 for 3.
Well, Jeremy not talking to the umpire, Ed, after he was called out on 2 strikes that last time at bat. He decides he'll concentrate on the pitcher.
Pitch to Jeremy's taken. Ball 1-0. He's starting to kick up and manages to blow the papers about. It is high for ball 2.
Nice save there by Epperson of the Lions, Ed. He's got very long arms. He's a big kid. He reached up and made a great save. Not that anyone was in danger for the Lions because there's nobody on, but nice play.
Number 10, Sean Wright, is on deck. The first contact down the right field line. First baseman there, out of sight. Did not get it. He strike. 2-1 on Jeremy Sampson. Sean Wright in the on-deck circle. He will bat for Russ Johnston. 7th inning, we're tied with the Lions. Game that's seen a lot of everything. Much normal flow in a ball game and some not. Watches the pitch. Outside. Ball 3.
As you mentioned, Ed, we've seen a little of everything. We've seen runs score after a third out that were counted momentarily. Then they realized the double play wasn't needed. We've seen just a little bit of everything.
Looking. Pitch is swung on. Skied high. Deep center. Center fielder back. Looking. Makes the grab.
Boy, deep center field. Way out there by the fence. Sampson really gave it a ride. but the ball just would not get out of here. At about 350 feet, he hit that thing.
And it's 354 to center field. So with 2 gone, it'll bring up Sean Wright for the Bulldogs. Top of the 7th. Batting for Russ Johnston. Pitch is swung on. This one is down to the pitcher. He throws the first in time. So it's 3 up, 3 down here in the 7th inning for the Doggies. Nothing across, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. Your score at the end of 6.5 innings of play remains Cottage Grove 3, the North Bend Bulldogs 3.
The North Bend Bulldogs, sponsored in part by Marshall Bargain House, your home heating headquarters featuring a full line of wood, propane, and pellet stoves on North Bayshore Drive, Coos Bay. By the Kenware Auto family, where they really care. You'll find Chevrolet Geo, Cadillac, Olds, Mazda, and best of all, service after the sale. Kenware on Newmark, North Bend. And by the Texaco Star Mart, offering the power and quality of Texaco products and the convenience of a taco time drive-thru. Look for the Texaco Star Mart. Take it to the star. Distributed by Davis Oil, North Bend.
Sean Wright is going in to play third base for the Bulldogs. They have Josh Terry at first. We have Darren Ford, I believe, at short. And perhaps Jesse Waybright over at second. We'll wait and see until those fellas turn around. Been a lot of jockeying for position, a lot of changes in position that have been made so far in this ball game. Jesse is at short, and Darren is at second.
Yeah, they move him around now with Sean over there at third base.
Like checkers. The outfield, presumably, is consistent. Aaron in left, Colby in center, and Glenn Hanna in right. First pitch is taken for a ball. Jeremy Sampson toiling away, facing Eric Henson, who so far in the game is 1 for 3. Next pitch is taken outside for ball 2.
Well, the Lions looking for a base runner, Ed. If they can get the leadoff runner aboard, try and sacrifice him over. They just need one to win the ball game.
Sean Wright shallow at third. Pitch to the plate, laid in there for a strike. 2-1. Don't forget the Willamette Wolverines will be at Clyde Allen Field on Monday. Whined by Jeremy. Pitch is outside for ball 3. 3-1 on Eric Henson. Jeremiah Kirk is on deck. Eric facing Jeremy for the first time in this ball game. 3-1. Takes strike 2. Blew it in there. Count is full now at 3-2. Payoff pitch, due up. Waybright at short, pulled over toward the bag. Pitch is swung on. Bouncer. Darren gobbles it up, throws, he's out. Second to first takes care of Eric Henson, puts one away. Here's Jeremiah Kirk.
And isn't Darren Ford really playing well for the North Bend Bulldogs? Yet, as well as his hitting, his fielding really coming on. He's made some nice plays over the last couple of ball games.
He went to his left, gobbled up something that was a slow bounder, ticketed for the hole had he not gotten there. Came up to make the out. Jeremiah takes the pitch. Ball gets away, comes on over toward the screen. 1-0 on Kirk. J.C. Hansen, the first baseman on deck. Play is in the bottom half of the 7th inning. All tied at 3. Here's the next one. This one laid in there for a strike. Evens it up at 1-1. Last time these two ball clubs got together in North Bend, a real wild one, 11-8, won by North Bend. Poised, ready, here it is. Steve Wright called. Down around the knees, runs it to 1-2.
It was a pitcher's pitch, if there's such a thing, Ed. Just a little bit of movement on that ball and really got Jeremiah Kirk stranded.
Ready to go, spinning, 1-2 on the way. Went fishing, did not get strike 3. So going down swinging is Jeremiah Kirk, becomes strikeout victim number 3 of Jeremy Sampson, and brings on J.C. Hansen, the first baseman. J.C., 1 for 3, got a run-producing single in the first inning.
Well, striking out 3 of the last 5 hitters, Jeremy Sampson showing some good control, Ed, coming on here in relief.
Here's the pitch to the left-handed batter. Taken for a strike. 0-1. On deck is Ben Epperson. Pitch is swung on, drilled to shortstop. Up with it, way bright, throw, he's out. So, quick 3-up, 3-down inning here in the 7th for the Cottage Grove Lions. Nothing across, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. The end of 7 will go extra innings. It's still North Bend 3, Cottage Grove 3.
Bulldog Sports is brought to you by Coos Bay Timber Operators since 1945, offering quality crushed quarry rock, road crushing, dump trucking, and portable crushing. 756-6254. MJ Video Creations for high-quality video productions. Education, commercial, tape duplicating, and editing. Count on MJ Videos at the North Bend Airport. And Coosehead Builder Supply with professional advice for any size job and all the tools and products to do the job right the first time. Serving you since 1947 on Sherman Avenue, North Bend.
Glenn Hanna will lead it off for the North Bend Bulldogs as Coach Dave Gibson gets ready to head over to third base, waits for the warm-up toss to be taken care of, and now ambles behind the catcher. Dickie Hanks perched over at first, and Coach Dave Sampson, who is the official scorer for the Doggies and quite an assistant here in the Bulldog program this year.
Glenn Hanna will lead it off, Ed, here for the Bulldogs, and as the warm-up tosses are being taken, he times himself against Mason, who has gone 7 full, and he'll stay out there on the mound. What a great workman is Mason, and again, win or lose this ball game, he has pitched very well here against the Bulldogs. Very rarely has he gotten into trouble with walking anybody. What's he walked? Maybe one, if that, in the ball game?
I'm looking back, he's hit a couple.
I don't think he's walked anyone, though. He's had very good control.
So it'll be Glenn who has drawn a blank in 3 tries against Mason. Third baseman over there, Eric Henson, to talk with the pitcher. Glenn flied to left in the 5th, fielder's choice in the 3rd, popped the 1st in the 1st. Started to step into it, took it inside, tight, ball 1.
Well, the Bulldogs looking for base runners now, Ed. That's what they want to do. Get them on the base. They've been doing a nice job picking runners up, haven't left a lot on the base paths this afternoon.
Josh Terry is on deck. Pitch is low. Watching it come in, ball 2. Glenn Hanna leading it off here in the 8th inning. Josh, and then we will have Aaron Vanover. Leading away, pitch is taken for a strike. 2-1 on Glenn. Looking down to Coach Gibson. Says something. Here it is. Swing. Little bleeder down the 3rd. Up with it. Third baseman throw to first. There's one away. There's a little nubber that was to the left of the mound, and moving on over and coming in, the third baseman gobbled it up to make the play.
Hoot Gibson is coming in now. Said it hit him in the leg, but apparently it was not seen by either one of them. It should have been a foul ball as that ball hit him in the leg as it went out into the field, but nobody saw it, so it's not going to count. They don't let you make up the calls as you go.
So Hoot had his say, and Glenn Hanna goes back to lay down on the Bulldog bench. And let's see, we've got Josh Terry, your batter. He is 0 for 2. Pitch is beat foul down the third base line. Josh perturbed with himself. He thought he had a pitch that was right to his liking.
Hoot Gibson didn't even move from his stance, Ed. He reads those foul balls very quickly.
Zach Manful batted for Josh in the 6th and popped out. Leans away from a high pitch. And as you've mentioned many times, when it gets high to Josh, it is way on up in the atmosphere. Aaron Vanover in the on-deck circle for the Doggies. Mason, pitch is swung on, slugged out towards center. Center fielder moving over, now coming in. Makes the grab. 2 away. Jesse Neat taking that fly ball in. Here is Aaron Vanover. He was hit by a pitch in the 4th. Beg your pardon, Rock. He was hit by a pitch in the 4th, and then Aaron went in to run for him. In his only at bat so far in this game, Aaron is 1 for 1. He got a single in the 6th. Eventually came in. The score would prove to be the tying run. This one is golf foul off to the right. Right fielder chasing it. Can't get anywhere near it. Strike 1.
Well, a good job in the ball game here. Aaron Vanover has scored two of the three Bulldog runs. One came after he went in to run for Rocky after Rocky had been hit by the pitch. The other, following his single in the sixth, came on to score the tying run of the ball game.
Little delay here as the umpire looks over toward what presumably is the bullpen for Cottage Grove. Aaron waiting. On the way. Follows it all the way down for a ball. Evens it out now at 1-1. Colby Ton is due up next. 2 out, none on here in the 8th. The afternoon winding down into the evening. Pitch is in tight, leaning back and taking ball 2. 2-1. Aaron Vanover. Outfield about straight away for Aaron. Swings and fouls it back to the screen to even it up at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Colby ready to retrieve it, but looks like we have the skipper coming on over for the Cottage Grove Lions. Target is set by Epperson. 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So let's see here. For Andy Mason, strikeout number 5, 3 up, 3 down. Nothing across, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. Your score at the end of 7.5 remains the Bulldogs 3 and the Cottage Grove Lions 3.
Proud to be a Bulldog sponsor, Claire Gove CPA offering professional full-service accounting including income tax services, estate, trust, financial, and business consulting on Broadway, North Bend. Reese Electric since 1946, serving the electrical needs of commercial, residential, and industrial accounts. Reese Electric, where service is their specialty on Union, North Bend. And Gino's Pizza Inn, the place to stop on your way to or from any Bulldog game. For the best pizza anywhere, it's Gino's Pizza Inn on Virginia Avenue, North Bend.
Well, it's such a pleasant, lazy afternoon, and going into the evening, I never thought that the way this baseball season started out would be at a ballpark in a lounge chair with just the normal garb without encumbrance with sweaters and jackets.
Oh, I'll tell you, it was in the low 80s when we arrived, somewhere around 82 degrees, and then it dropped down into the upper 70s. It started to cool down, but still beautiful, beautiful weather up here. Looking forward to Monday, Ed, the Willamette Wolverines coming into the Bay Area at Clyde Allen Field, a team that North Bend now leads by 1 game in the Midwestern League. But in that playoff positioning, the Bulldogs in 3rd, a game up on Churchill and Willamette, and I believe the Wolverines and the Lancers are playing this afternoon.
It'll be interesting to see what the outcome is there and how things look as we get ready to go into the final regular season game of the year. Number 10, that will be Ben Epperson, leads it off. He went down swinging in the 5th inning after doubling. Pitch is a strike.
Well, he's another one of those who came in the 4th inning after the big melee when one of the Grovers and 2 of the Bulldogs were thrown out.
Pitch is swung on, slugged high, right center fielder over, looking, makes the grab. So there is 1 away. As Epperson goes out on a fly ball to right center, pulled in by Colby Ton, back very close to the fence.
But pretty hard to beat Colby Ton when he's patrolling in the outfield, Ed. He's got it down to a science.
The batter is Andy Mason, the pitcher, who has done quite a chore. Pitch strike. 0-1 on Andy down around the knees. Fielder's choice in the 5th, bunt single in the 4th, double play in the 1st. Pitch is swung on. Off the glove of the 3rd baseman. Gobble shortstop throw. It is safe. Close play. It almost was pulled off. The miscue. Sharply hit to 3rd base. Sean Wright off his glove. Deflected it to the shortstop. Jesse Waybright pulled the trigger in a hurry. And it was a close play at first base. Pitch in tight for a ball. 1-0 the count. Levi Herman is the batter. His walk leading off the 6th inning brought on a pitching change. Pitch is high. The runner going. Throw is blocked, not made. So it's 2-0 as Andy Mason got a good jump, and he represents the winning run with one out if they can work him around. Levi Herman. Looked by Jeremy. Pitch to the plate is low for ball 3. 3-0, one away. Cottage Grove in the bottom of the 8th inning. Shortstop, Waybright, harassing the runner at second. Jeremy steps off the slab, and the base runner goes back. Trying to take a look at something here.
Chopped it foul for the strike.
And that'll do 3-1.
2-3-1.
11-8 the last time they got together. This is as far different than that game as day and night, with some added attractions thrown in, no less. Stretch by Sampson. The ball is started to go, lost it, ball 4. So runners are on at first and second. Second walk for Levi Herman. That'll be the first walk of Jeremy Sampson. And really, in effect, no harm done because the
only one that counts is down at second. Anybody behind him, not going to matter, although there is the opportunity for the twin killing.
This one is foul. 0-1 the count. Jonah Gladney was the first man to face Jeremy Sampson in the 6th inning, and he went down swinging. Batting with 2 men aboard and 1 out here in the 8th. Bottom half of the 8th inning. We're tied at 3. Cottage Grove threatening. Bunt down the third baseline. Coming over. Sampson gets it. Throw to first. Wild throw, and this ball game will be over.
Well, Mason will come on to score on the error on the throw down to first. So the Bulldogs lose it 4-3 on an error at a tough throw that went way high to Josh Terry over at first base.
The bunt down the third baseline, a well-placed bunt. The pitcher, Jeremy Sampson, had to come over and field it. His throw was over wide at first base, and so here in the 8th inning, the Cottage Grove Lions come up with 1 run. They had no hits. There were 2 errors and 2 runners left on the bases. So your final score here at Kelly Field in Cottage Grove is the Cottage Grove Lions 4, the North Bend Bulldogs 3. David.
Well, I know you want to be getting your numbers put together, Ed, so while we prepare for that in the quick exit from the ball game, we'll let you know that Monday will be the end of the season, the regular season for the Bulldogs, who will look for the playoffs coming up. And, Ron, a ball game today where we saw a little of everything. The Bulldogs played a little bit of everybody at a lot of different positions and really didn't go to any of their pitchers until the end of the ball game when they brought Jeremy Sampson in. And it just didn't work out for him with, 4 errors in the ball game on the afternoon. But they'll have saved Vanover and Sampson for the most part for that game on Monday.
You know, every game is important, but no game is as important as the one that you're playing at the particular time. And some things we saw in this game, we've never seen in a ball game. Some of them positive and some of them not so positive. This was not an absolute critical must-win for the Bulldogs. It would have been nice, but they still are in the thick of the playoff picture, and especially come Monday against Lamington, of course, depending upon how the Willamette-Churchill game comes out. The Cottage Grove Lions, you really have to credit that pitcher, Andy Mason. What a terrific job he did out on the mound for Cottage Grove today. And as you and Ed mentioned, we saw him last year. We'll see him again next year. So Cottage Grove has, amongst others, Andy Mason, a great player to come back. But the Dogs, all they have to do is regroup between now and Monday and saving Aaron Vanover and as much as possible Jeremy Sampson as far as the pitching mound duties come up on Monday. We saw a lot of young fellas out there on the pitcher's mound, and we saw some players that played a lot of different positions. And when it comes down to it, the final out wasn't there. Instead, it was a final run, and the Cottage Grove Lions, well, they picked it up, and they've got the W.
And the line totals in this ball game that took 2 hours and 7 minutes and went 8 innings. The Cottage Grove Lions win it. 4 runs, 5 hits, 3 errors, 8 left. And for the North Bend Bulldogs, 3 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors, and 7 left. And in closing, as always, we invite you to stop in, visit the folks who make these get-togethers possible, and thank you. Thank you for letting us share a part of your day. Join us again Monday here on News Center 1340 when the Bulldogs take on the Willamette Wolverines at Clyde Allen Field in North Bend. Once again, the final score from Kelly Field in Cottage Grove. It was the Cottage Grove Lions 4, the North Bend Bulldogs 3. Bulldog Baseball, a presentation of Big Bay Radio Sports. For David Walker, Ron Nance, Barbara back at the station, Ed Kime, rounding third and heading home.